Part 40. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 391. Li Yuan replied calmly, if you think so, there is nothing wrong with it. Yin Sheng clapped his hands, as if he had encountered something very funny, and sneered, very good, since I was a child, this is the first time I have encountered someone who dares to threaten me. You know, you are really brave. Li Yuan smiled, looking at him as if he was a fool. What era is it? He secretly turned on the recording function of his mobile phone, and looked at Yin Sheng with a smile. Oh, I want to see what you can do to us. Can you cover the sky with one hand and force my cousin to be your girlfriend? Li Yuan has roughly determined in his heart that in the previous life, Chu Yanyan jumped off the building to commit suicide, probably because of the person in front of him. Looking at the other party's arrogant tone, there must be some background, most likely in the school, who can control Chu Yanyan. In the previous life, he saw too many such news on the internet. Some beautiful female college students are often exposed to be seduced, forced. Some female college students may swallow their anger. Some people, like Chu Yanyan, would resist fiercely and choose to jump off the building to commit suicide rather than give in. Li Yuan pretended to look at Yin Sheng with a disdainful expression. He really wanted to know if the other party was really that brainless. Perhaps Yin Sheng was used to being domineering in school, or perhaps he was provoked by Li Yuan's disdainful expression, and directly threatened him. Boy, judging from your accent, you are not a local of Shanghai, right? Li Yuan smiled faintly. No, what's wrong? Are you going to find someone to beat me up? Yin Sheng sneered, it's good that you know yourself. Remember, this is Shanghai, this is Polytechnic University. Yo, you're so scared, Li Yuan shrugged. Seeing Yin Sheng so arrogant, he was happy to continue digging holes. It seems that this senior has a really powerful background. He doesn't even care about the law and can force girls to go against their will. Li Yuan looked at Chu Yanyan and asked, cousin, this senior is so powerful. Do you know what his background is? Chu Yanyan listened to Li Yuan's words and thought that Li Yuan might also be a second generation and should be able to fight against Yin Sheng. She made up her mind and decided to tell the situation so as not to be entangled by Yin Sheng in the future. His father is Yin Ji, a professor in our School of Electronic Information. Li Yuan suddenly understood why Chu Yanyan chose to commit suicide in her previous life. Isn't this the news he saw online, and it appeared next to him? This kind of thing is not uncommon in college. Li Yuan smiled, it turns out that he is the son of Professor Yin's family. No wonder he was so domineering just now and forced her to be your girlfriend. Mr. Yin, will you keep pestering my cousin if she doesn't agree to be your girlfriend? Yin Sheng frowned slightly. He felt that something was wrong with Li Yuan's words. But at this moment, the arrow is on the string, and it is not his character to give in. Yin Sheng frowned and looked at Li Yuan, then turned to look at Chu Yanyan, with a deep greed in his eyes. Yanyan, I really like you, just agree to be my girlfriend. At this point, Chu Yanyan naturally chose to refuse sternly. Yin Sheng, don't force me, okay? There are many girls who are better and prettier than me in school. I just want to study hard, graduate smoothly and find a good job in the future. Seeing that Chu Yanyan still refused to be self-righteous, Yin Sheng's nameless anger suddenly burned. Since he met Chu Yanyan more than 2 months ago, he has been deeply attracted to her and swore in his heart that he must chase this girl. However, in the past 2 months, the methods that were always successful in chasing other girls have failed with Chu Yanyan. At this moment, Yin Sheng was furious and didn't care about the school cafeteria, and he tore his face directly. Chu Yanyan, don't be shameless. It's your honor that I like you. Hearing Yin Sheng's words, Chu Yanyan was so angry that she trembled all over, her face was ashen, and there were tears in her eyes. She is a female college student from another place. She just wants to go to school and doesn't want to fall in love. Is it wrong? This is the second time that Li Yuan has encountered such a thing. The first time was at Jida, where he was threatened by Qin Hao, Zhang Xiu's pursuer. He hated this kind of bullying by relying on his own background in his two lives. So, Li Yuan stood up suddenly, looked at Yin Sheng with cold eyes, and shouted angrily, "Did you eat dog shit in your mouth? Why are you talking so badly? Or, in your eyes, the law is a piece of waste paper that can be easily trampled. If the woman you like doesn't agree to be your girlfriend, it's shameless." Yin Sheng saw Li Yuan's angry look, and his body trembled suddenly. Li Yuan was taller than him, with a muscular body, and looked very strong. At this time, the noise of the quarrel had attracted the attention of some students. Yin Sheng glanced at Li Yuan and Chu Yanyan coldly, and said, "Haha, let's wait and see, you will regret it in the future." After that, he turned around and prepared to leave. "Wait a minute, take your flowers away." Li Yuan reached out and picked up the roses on the table and threw them directly over. Yin Sheng took the roses thrown by Li Yuan and threw them directly into the trash can without even looking at them. Looking at Yin Sheng's leaving figure, Chu Yanyan showed a worried look on her face, and felt a little uneasy in her heart, afraid that she would be retaliated by Yin Sheng. "Li Yuan, Zhaijin, I'm a little worried." Li Yuan smiled and shook his phone. "Sister Yanyan, don't worry, I just recorded it. If he knows what's good for him, he won't dare to harass you again in the future." Chu Yanyan was very surprised when she heard that Li Yuan had recorded it. She asked in shock, "Li Yuan, how did you think of recording it?" Xia Zhaijin also looked curious. She didn't know that Li Yuan had just recorded it. "Because I have studied law." Li Yuan smiled. He thought, this was all forced out in the previous life. Recording is sometimes the most effective and simplest way to solve the problem. Of course, the incident encountered today will definitely not end like this. To some extent, if Xia Zhaijin hadn't mentioned that she wanted to see Chu Yanyan today, it might not take long for the tragedy in the previous life to happen again. This school beauty senior sister in front of her is very likely to jump off the building and commit suicide because of Yin Sheng. Li Yuan has now determined that Chu Yanyan in her previous life could not have committed suicide because of love, and it is very likely that she was raped by Yin Sheng. It is not an exaggeration to describe Yin Sheng as a murderer. This kind of evil beast, the scum of society, must be sent to hell to repent. Of course, there is no need to tell Chu Yanyan and Xia Zhaijin about how to take revenge, these dark things, which will only increase the worries of these two little girls. Li Yuan thought about it, fearing that Chu Yanyan would be upset if she encountered an emergency after they left the Polytechnic University, so he reminded her indirectly. "Sister Yanyan, no matter what happens in the future, don't be upset. In the Magic City, you still have Zhaijin and me. If you encounter any difficulties, you can call me and Zhaijin." Chu Yanyan looked at Li Yuan deeply, her heart pounding, her cheeks slightly red, and nodded with a smile, "Yes, I will." "Li Yuan, thank you. Sister Yanyan, we are all family, you're welcome." Li Yuan smiled and asked, "By the way, Sister Yanyan, can you tell us the details?" Chu Yanyan looked a little hesitant, but she still spoke slowly and told the whole story. "The thing is, at the end of August, our class organized an extracurricular expansion activity, and then I met Yin Sheng, and he started to pursue me. At the beginning, he was very polite, eloquent, and generous. I still had a good impression of him and wanted to see if he could get along with me. After all, I had never been in a relationship and wanted to know more. But later, by chance, I secretly saw him with other girls and found out that he already had a girlfriend, so I rejected him. But he dumped that girlfriend directly and kept pestering me, so of course I didn't agree. He also revealed to me that he was the son of Professor Yin Ji of our School of Electronic Information, and said that if I wanted to be his girlfriend, he would give me a place in D directly, and when I graduated from university, or you can directly apply for Professor Yin's postgraduate study, and after graduating from the postgraduate program, you can stay in the University of Science and Technology to work. Later, I heard from my classmates that Yin Sheng is a playboy. He has been dating since junior high school, and now he has had at least 2-digit girlfriends. He chases each girlfriend, plays with her for a while, and then kicks her out, and then finds a new one. I also heard that some girlfriends have been pregnant by him and have had several miscarriages. So, I never agreed to his pursuit, but he always pesters me and uses Professor Yin Ji to pressure me. I am afraid that he will be framed and I will not be able to graduate, so I have been dragging it on. Listening to Chu Yanyan's story, Li Yuan secretly glanced at Xia's Haijin with a guilty conscience. Seeing that she did not just stare at Chu Yanyan nervously, he breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Although Yin Sheng is a complete scumbag, thinking of his thoughts after his rebirth and his current actions, he can only be said to be slightly better than Yin Sheng. At least, he really gave his heart to Zhong Tingyu, Xia's Haijin, Zhang Ziyu, and others, and tried his best to treat them well, both emotionally and materially, and did not abandon them like Yin Sheng did. But I don't know how Chu Yanyan would look at him if she knew that he was cheating on her. Probably she would look at Yin Sheng the same way, thinking that he and Yin Sheng were birds of a feather. Li Yuan couldn't help but hold Xia's Haijin's hand tightly. From Chu Yanyan's tragic experience, he couldn't imagine what Xia's Haijin would encounter in her previous life. Fortunately, in this life, he would protect her. Chu Yanyan sighed helplessly, this is the situation. Alas, I just hope he won't bother me again in the future. I just want to graduate safely, find a good job, and make more money. Li Yuan smiled and comforted, Sister Yanyan, relax, everything will be fine in the future. By the way, Sister Yanyan, are you studying electronic information? Chu Yanyan nodded and explained, well, I studied electronic information engineering, mainly studying information acquisition and processing, electronic equipment and information system design and development. It is a little different from the computer technology you two are studying. Li Yuan nodded, and his heart moved. Chu Yanyan's major is very useful for his future industrial layout. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 392. Whether it is the King of Glory game currently under development, the future chicken eating game, or the Zhi website, etc., they can all be used. However, he did not mention it for the time being. Chu Yanyan is just a junior, and the professional course tasks are relatively heavy, and it is unlikely to work part-time. Although Zhi is very famous now, it is just a false name and has not yet formed an industry. We can only wait for the bullet to fly for a while. Chu Yanyan said to herself anxiously, hey, Professor Yin Ji is a senior professor in our college. I wonder if he will block me during my graduation defense. She has also heard that professors in some schools sometimes deliberately block students' thesis defenses, which may even lead to repeating a grade or delaying graduation. When Yin Sheng mentioned that he was Professor Yin's son, she had a faint worry in her heart, which led to Yin Sheng's unscrupulous entanglement with her. Li Yuan smiled and asked, Sister Yanyan, what is the lifestyle of Professor Yin Ji that you mentioned? Chu Yanyan was a little confused, what are you talking about? Li Yuan coughed and said awkwardly, ahem, it's about lifestyle, men and women and so on. Chu Yanyan chuckled, her face flushed, and said softly, well, I don't know much about this. However, I occasionally heard other classmates mention that he is a little frivolous. Someone saw Professor Yin holding hands with a female student and entering the hotel. Li Yuan nodded and thought, as expected, like father like son. Yin Sheng's personality is probably also influenced by his father. Yin Ji is always frivolous, and his son is even more excessive. No wonder, In the last life, he forced a beautiful female college student who respects herself to jump off the building and commit suicide. However, this is a good thing for Li Yuan. It's good to find a handle, but I'm afraid of those who have no handle at all. Since even Chu Yanyan and her classmates have heard this kind of gossip, Yanji's lifestyle must be problematic. This is a breakthrough point for attack, but also a fatal weakness. Although it is far less strict than in the future, it is not completely ignored. As long as it really breaks out, the school will not be able to withstand the pressure. Let him taste the deterrent power brought by traffic exposure. In this world, there is nothing that money can't do. If it can't be done, you can only say that you have to pay more. Chu Yanyan looked at Li Yuan curiously and asked, Li Yuan, what are you going to do? Li Yuan smiled and shook his head, keep it secret for the time being. Chu Yanyan didn't know Li Yuan's situation, but she knew that Li Yuan's family was very rich and should not be afraid of Yin Sheng, and she gradually felt relieved. Well, thank you. After dinner, the afterglow of the sunset had fallen, dyeing the sky red. The three of them wandered around the school for a while and took a general look at several scenic spots in the University of Science and Technology. Chu Yanyan looked at Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin, and asked with a smile. Haijin, Li Yuan, we are done with the school, why don't we go out for a walk? Xia's Haijin didn't answer, but looked at Li Yuan. When she was with Li Yuan, she would completely regard Li Yuan as the backbone. Li Yuan smiled slightly, touched Xia's Haijin's head, and looked at Chu Yanyan again, and said with a smile. That's fine, Sister Yanyan, where are you going to go? The three of them had roughly visited the University of Science and Technology, and the feeling of revisiting the old place in his heart had faded a lot. The most important thing is that although it was a revisit of the old place, he didn't meet any old friends. He didn't know whether the roommates from the 4 years of college were still in the dormitory. Even if they were still there, he didn't know how to face it. After rebirth, it was a completely different trajectory. If there is fate, we will meet again, if not. Chu Yanyan looked at the time. Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin arrived at the University of Science and Technology at around 4:30, and it was not yet 7 o'clock in the evening. At this time, nightlife has just begun for college students. Chu Yanyan smiled and said, going out for a walk, watching a movie, singing, whatever, it's all fine, what do you think? Chapter 230 Xia's Haijin's first singing performance. Seeing Chu Yanyan's interest in going out to play, Li Yuan naturally would not refuse, and nodded with a smile. I can do anything, you decide. Chu Yanyan asked with a smile, Haijin, what about you, are we going shopping, singing, or watching a movie? Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan quietly, thought about it, and answered shyly, let's go singing. Hearing Xia's Haijin's answer, Li Yuan was slightly startled, and was a little surprised. He thought Xia's Haijin would say whatever, it's all fine, but he didn't expect that he would take the initiative to suggest singing. He suddenly thought that since he met Xia's Haijin, the two had indeed never gone to KTV to sing together, nor had he heard Xia's Haijin sing. It seemed that in his subconscious, he thought Xia's Haijin could not sing and was not interested in music. This is a mistake I made. As a girl, Xia's Haijin just had a difficult family, but her hobbies might be the same as other girls. She also liked food, shopping, travel, music, and so on. Maybe Xia's Haijin could sing well, after all, her voice was very nice, soft, and sticky, like an orchid in a valley. Whether singing is good or not has a lot to do with the voice. Some people are like being chased by God to feed them, and all the good qualities will be added to them. Li Yuan suddenly had more expectations in his heart. When Chu Yanyan heard that Xia's Haijin wanted to sing at KTV, she quickly nodded in agreement. In fact, she also wants to sing in KTV. In this era, KTV is very popular, and it is also one of the must-go places for college students who have the conditions to party. Hee, Zhaijin, your idea really resonates with mine. Then let's go to KTV and sing. Chu Yanyan looked very interested, and it was obvious that she also wanted to sing. He looked at Li Yuan again and asked for his opinion. Li Yuan, is it okay? Li Yuan smiled and nodded, of course, no problem. This cousin probably doesn't know her current situation in the Chinese music industry, otherwise, she wouldn't have reacted this way. Seeing that Li Yuan agreed, Chu Yanyan pursed her lips and chuckled, jokingly saying, Li Yuan, Zhaijin sings very beautifully. You are blessed with ears today. Xia Zhaijin's face suddenly turned red with embarrassment when her cousin praised her. She was really pretty. No way, my singing is mediocre, and I don't sing much. Chu Yanyan smiled and joked, Zhaijin, you have always been so humble, I still don't understand you. Hee, when you were a child, you often came to my house and followed me to learn new songs. Which singer do you like? By the way, I remember that when you were in the first grade of elementary school, you won an award for singing, right? Seeing her cousin talking about the past, a dim and sad look suddenly flashed across Xia Zhaijin's face. When I was in the first grade of elementary school, my parents had not yet passed away, and my childhood at that time was as carefree as my peers. But with an accident, everything changed. All of my interests and hobbies have been hidden. Because she no longer has the carefree environment she had under the protection of her parents. Chu Yanyan smiled and said, then let's go now. Li Yuan smiled and said, Sister Yanyan, take this back to the dormitory first. Li Yuan handed the laptop he was carrying to Chu Yanyan. He had been carrying it for several hours. Chu Yanyan took the gift and said with some embarrassment, I'm sorry, Li Yuan, for making you carry it for so long. It's okay, it's not serious. Li Yuan smiled and asked, Zhaijin, do you want to follow Sister Yanyan to their dormitory? Boys are not allowed to enter the girls' dormitory of the Polytechnic University. Xia Zhaijin glanced at Li Yuan with hesitant eyes, and Li Yuan understood instantly that she was worried that she would be bored waiting alone downstairs. Zhaijin, you and Sister Yanyan go take a look. I'll make a call. Xia Zhaijin nodded in agreement. Chu Yanyan took Xia Zhaijin's little hand and said with a smile, well, Li Yuan, you wait downstairs for a while, Zhaijin, and I will come as soon as we go. Okay, Li Yuan made a gesture. Seeing the two girls leaving, Li Yuan took out his mobile phone and made a call. Boss, do you have something to ask me about? Li Yuan looked serious and said calmly, well, please help me check Yan Ji from the School of Electronic Information of Moda University of Technology and his son Yin Sheng. I want detailed information, such as the relationship between men and women. I know how to do it. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 393. The voice on the other end of the phone was a little excited, and nodded quickly, Boss, don't worry, I know what to do. Li Yuan, okay, do it as soon as possible. If there is any progress, tell me in time. Okay, boss. Chu Yanyan carried the gift and took Xia Zhaijin back to the girls' dormitory. Because today is Monday, two of Chu Yanyan's three roommates are there. They are all surprised to see Chu Yanyan leading such a beautiful girl back to the dormitory. Yanyan, who is this? Chu Yanyan smiled and introduced, Xiaolin, this is my cousin Xia Zhaijin, she came to our school to play with me today. Zhang Xiaolin suddenly realized, oh, I remember, I heard Yanyan said that she has a cousin at Daxia University, who is just a freshman this year. Hello, cousin, my name is Zhang Xiaolin, Yanyan's roommate. Another roommate also came over to say hello. My name is Sun Junjun, cousin, you are so beautiful, you look just like Yan Yan. Hee, cousin, your family's genes are too good, I like you a little bit. Cousin, do you have a boyfriend? Do you want me to introduce you to one? I know several handsome guys. The enthusiasm of the two girls made Xia's Haijin look a little shy. She pinched the corner of her clothes and greeted them with a red face. Come on, stop teasing Haijin. Haijin has a boyfriend and is waiting for us downstairs. Seeing this, Chu Yanyan explained with a chuckle, and put the gifts given by Li Yuan and others on the table. Zhang Ziulan and Sun Junjun were very shocked to hear that Xia's Haijin already had a boyfriend. Chu Yanyan is a junior and still has no boyfriend. Zhang Ziulan exclaimed, oh my god, my cousin is only a freshman, and she already has a boyfriend. My cousin is so beautiful, her boyfriend must be very handsome too. I was wondering what kind of boy can be worthy of my cousin. Xia's Haijin shyly said Whether Li Yuan was handsome or not, there was no need to consider it at all. In her heart, he was the most handsome man. Zhang Ziulan looked at the outline of the gift that Chu Yanyan put on the table and asked in surprise. Yanyan, who gave you this gift? Why does it look weird? What is it? Chu Yanyan smiled and said, it was given by Haijin and her boyfriend. I haven't opened it yet. Aren't you curious at all? Zhang Ziulan stretched out her hand to weigh it, and said with a light exclamation, with a puzzled look in her eyes, and muttered. Yanyan, what's in it looks a bit like a laptop. Laptop? Chu Yanyan was stunned and felt a little unbelievable. She thought it was just an ordinary gift. A laptop is worth several thousand. The most important point is that she hasn't bought a computer herself. Looking at Xia's Haijin, her cousin must know what the gift is. Haijin, what gift did you two buy? Xia's Haijin smiled and joked, Sister Yanyan, you can open it and see, right? Chu Yanyan curiously picked up the scissors and opened the gift package, revealing a notebook box. Wow, it's really a laptop. Yanyan, haven't you been saving money to buy a laptop? I didn't expect my cousin to give it to you directly. This model of laptop should not be cheap, it must be tens of thousands of yuan. Hee, I didn't expect that my cousin is still a little rich woman. Zhang Ziulan and Sun Junjun looked at Xia's Haijin with a different look. To be able to directly give a laptop worth tens of thousands as a gift, the family situation must be unusual. Chu Yanyan was stunned, bit her lip, and looked at Xia's Haijin with mixed feelings. She knew that Li Yuan's family was very rich and generous, but she didn't expect that he would directly give her a laptop worth tens of thousands. Haijin, this laptop is too expensive, I can't take it. Xia's Haijin smiled and said softly, Sister Yanyan, just accept it, this is also his choice. If you don't want it, he will be angry. Well, okay. Chu Yanyan nodded hesitantly, and her favorability towards Li Yuan rose sharply. When they heard that it was a gift bought by Xia's Haijin's boyfriend, Zhang Ziulan, and the others looked strange. This cousin who just entered college seemed to have found a rich boyfriend. They didn't feel unbalanced. Xia's Haijin was so beautiful. If she found an ordinary boy as her boyfriend, they would be more regretful. Chu Yanyan had already decided in her heart that she would pay for singing in KTV later, and she couldn't let Li Yuan pay any more. She looked at Xia's Haijin and smiled, Li Yuan is still waiting downstairs. Let's go there quickly and don't let him wait for too long. Xia's Haijin said softly. Seeing the two of them were leaving, Zhang Ziulan asked casually. Yanyan, cousin, what are you going to do? Are you going back to the dormitory tonight? Chu Yanyan and Zhang Ziulan are best friends, and they have a good relationship, and they did not hide anything. We are going to go to KTV to sing, Lanlan, Junjun, do you two want to go together? Go sing. Zhang Ziulan's eyes lit up, and her expression was a little moved. She wanted to go, but she felt it was not appropriate. If we go to, will it be inappropriate? Chu Yanyan just said it casually. Seeing that her two roommates were a little moved, she was a little hesitant. She didn't know if Li Yuan would be disgusted if she brought her two roommates. At this time, Xia's Haijin replied with a smile, "It's okay, two sisters, let's go together." The main person Xia's Haijin has spoken. Zhang Xiaolan and Sun Junjun are very happy. Zhang Xiaolan, he, is it really possible? I haven't been to KTV to sing for a long time. Chu Yanyan touched Xia's Haijin's arm and asked, "Do you want to call Li Yuan and ask him?" Xia's Haijin thought about it. Although she thought Li Yuan would definitely agree, she still dialed Li Yuan's number obediently. The call was connected. Xia's Haijin just mentioned it casually, and Li Yuan immediately agreed. Looking at the people who were expectant, Xia's Haijin smiled and nodded. "Yes," he said, "welcome." Chu Yanyan was relieved. "Then let's go together." "Lanlan, Junjun, do you want to change clothes?" Wait a few minutes, I'll change clothes. I also need to touch up my makeup." "Cousin, talk to your boyfriend again, wait a little longer." When Li Yuan saw Xia's Haijin, Chu Yanyan, and the other two come out, it was already around 7:30 in the evening. Chu Yanyan came to Li Yuan and said a little embarrassedly, "Li Yuan, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting." "It's okay." Li Yuan smiled and looked at the two girls next to Chu Yanyan. They were both ordinary-looking girls, but they were dressed quite delicately. He also smiled and nodded at them. Chu Yanyan introduced them separately. "Li Yuan, they are my roommates, Zhang Xiaolan and Sun Junjun." Li Yuan smiled and greeted, "Hello, senior sister." Under the dim lights on the roadside, Zhang Xiaolan looked at Li Yuan's face and felt familiar, as if she had seen him somewhere, but she couldn't remember it for a while. However, just looking at Li Yuan's height and appearance, Zhang Xiaolan knew why he could chase Xia's Haijin. It is obvious that this is a real tall, rich and handsome man, and he is also very generous. The gifts he casually gave to his cousin are all worth tens of thousands. Zhang Xiaolan smiled and greeted, "Hello, junior brother Li Yuan, you are really tall and handsome, and you and my cousin are really a perfect match." Sun Junjun also looked strange and joked, "He, junior brother, we are shamelessly going to KTV with you, you won't mind, right?" Li Yuan shook his head and smiled. It's a blessing for the two senior sisters to go. After that, he took Xia's Haijin's hand and looked at Chu Yanyan. "Sister Yanyan, let's go now. I have booked a private room." 5 people, 1 man and 4 women, sat in Li Yuan's BMW X6 and came to a mass-market KTV called Lishi next to the University of Science and Technology. The environment and grade of this KTV are quite good, and it is only about 2 kilometers away from the University of Science and Technology. In his previous life, Li Yuan also came here to sing several times. Because it was Monday, there were not many people in the KTV, and the sound coming from the box could be heard from a long distance away. The private room was booked by Li Yuan while waiting. The 988 luxury set meal, fruit plate, drinks, snacks, etc. were all available. After Zhang Xiaolan, Sun Junjun, and others entered the private room, Zhang Xiaolan couldn't help but praise, "The sound effect of Lishi KTV is very good, and the environment is also very good. Junior brother Li Yuan is quite good at choosing places." Sun Junjun looked at the dazzling array of fruits, snacks, and drinks, and couldn't help but feel a little moved in his heart. When they went to KTV to sing, they always carried a big bag and secretly brought their own snacks and drinks in. Because the things in KTV were too expensive, several times more expensive than outside. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 394. At the door of the private room, Chu Yanyan came to Li Yuan and said embarrassedly, "Li Yuan, I said I was treating you, why did you pay so quickly?" Li Yuan smiled slightly, "Sister Yanyan, We are all family, no need to be so polite. Chu Yanyan's cheeks blushed slightly. Well, let's go in and sing. In the private room. As the only male, Chu Yanyan and Zhang Ziulan urged Li Yuan to order songs first. Li Yuan insisted not to order first on the pretext of ladies first, and Chu Yanyan did not force him, so she could only order a few songs first. Li Yuan sat next to Xia Zhaijin, held her little hand, and asked, Zhaijin, what do you want to sing? I'll help you order. Xia Zhaijin's body was straight, and it was the first time in her life that she came to a KTV to sing. Xia Zhaijin glanced at Li Yuan and said shyly, I can only sing some old songs. Li Yuan smiled and touched her head, it's okay, I like old songs too, those classic old songs are good. Li Yuan pulled Xia Zhaijin up and said with a smile, come with me, let's go order songs together. Coming to the song ordering station. Li Yuan taught her how to order songs step by step. Zhaijin, there are classic old songs here, you can also directly enter the song name to order songs, you can also search for the name of the singer to order songs, and there are current hot songs. After Xia Zhaijin was taught by Li Yuan, her little hand trembled slightly and found the classic old song mode. Looking at the songs that were familiar or unfamiliar, her heartbeat kept accelerating. Before her parents passed away, she was also a very cheerful little girl who also liked singing and dancing. However, with the accidental death of her parents, she became an orphan, grew up a lot all of a sudden, and became autistic. Under Li Yuan's gaze, Xia Zhaijin's little hand trembled slightly as she checked 3 songs, Tomorrow Will Be Better, Fruits of Midsummer and At Least I Have You. Xia Zhaijin said shyly, Li Yuan, I have chosen. Li Yuan looked at the songs Xia Zhaijin chose. These 3 songs were all classic old songs from 2000, and he could sing them, especially the first song Tomorrow Will Be Better, which was a must-sing song for the primary school chorus competition. Li Yuan rubbed Xia Zhaijin's head and smiled, Zhaijin, I am looking forward to your singing. Xia Zhaijin's cheeks were slightly red, and she stared at Li Yuan nervously, and her pearly teeth opened slightly, I don't sing well, don't laugh at me. Seeing Xia Zhaijin's nervous look as if she was going to the battlefield, Li Yuan couldn't help but pinch her cheeks. Zhaijin, you must be good at singing. Even if you just read the lyrics, you can sing better than most people. Xia Zhaijin chuckled, rolled her eyes at Li Yuan, and asked sweetly, Li Yuan, don't you want to order a few songs? Li Yuan smiled and said, okay, I'll order a few too. The songs in Lishi KTV are quite complete. Li Yuan checked the current pop music, but in his memory, they are all classic old songs. Li Yuan randomly selected a few songs. After rebirth, his voice has improved a lot. He also studied vocal music with Zhang Ziyu for a period of time, and he can basically grasp all kinds of songs. After ordering the songs, Li Yuan hugged Xia Zhaijin and listened to Chu Yanyan, Zhang Ziulan, and Sun Junjun singing. Perhaps because they are cousins, Chu Yanyan's voice is somewhat similar to Xia Zhaijin's, and the songs she sings are also very nice. Zhang Ziulan's voice is very penetrating and her personality is very lively. In Li Yuan's opinion, she is also at the level of KTV microphone master. As for Sun Junjun, the songs she chose were all very obscure. Li Yuan felt that her songs were a little off tune. Li Yuan was listening to several girls singing, when suddenly, the 2 big words Suyan appeared on the big screen of the KTV. Li Yuan subconsciously widened his eyes, looking very strange. Wasn't this song sung by him? He saw Zhang Ziulan had already picked up the microphone and introduced it with a smile. Yanyan, Junjun, have you heard this song? It's very popular on the internet. I think it's very nice. It is said that it was written by a college student. Chu Yanyan nodded, Suyan? I think I heard it on Qujiao Music. It was sung by a singer named Sheng Ru Xiahua, right? Zhang Ziulan smiled and explained, not entirely, This is a duet between a man and a woman. Unfortunately, there is no MV, so we can only sing along with the rhythm. Soon, the prelude ended. Zhang Ziulan spoke softly. It was another quiet night. I sat alone in a rocking chair to enjoy the cool air. I admit that it was really peaceful. Just like the old man downstairs. Listening to Zhang Ziulan singing Su Yan, Chu Yanyan, Sun Junjun, and the other three girls were not clear, but Xia's Haijin beside them was clear. Or, she knew everything about Li Yuan very well. She just kept many things in her heart, but it didn't mean that she didn't know. Li Yuan clearly felt that Xia's Haijin's hand holding his hand suddenly tightened, and even had a trace of sweat. Li Yuan met Xia's Haijin's gaze, feeling a little uneasy, and put his head close to her ear and whispered. That, Haijin, let's sing the song Tomorrow Will Be Better Later. Xia's Haijin rolled her eyes at Li Yuan, her expression was very strange, she knew who Li Yuan sang the song Su Yan with, and she also knew the meaning of what Li Yuan just said. Okay, Boss Li. When Li Yuan heard Xia's Haijin calling him Boss Li, he knew that Xia's Haijin was jealous. Every time she was jealous, she would call him Boss Li. It's like an exclusive title. For example, when she is with Zhong Tingyu, she likes to call herself senior, when she is with Bai Wuxi, she likes to call herself brother or husband, and when she is with Zhang Ziyu, she always calls herself Xia Xia. Brother Hua kept shouting. Chu Yanyan sat next to Xia's Haijin and smiled. Haijin, have you heard of this song? Xia's Haijin nodded gently, of course she had heard of it. Chu Yanyan added, he, I think you can sing this song with Li Yuan. This song is very suitable for male and female duets. Right, Li Yuan. Li Yuan coughed awkwardly, I'm not very good at singing this song. Chu Yanyan thought that Li Yuan really couldn't sing, so she said with a slight regret, oh, forget it if you can't sing, but this song is easy to learn and easy to sing. You can listen to it a few times. It will. When Xia's Haijin heard that Li Yuan said that she couldn't sing the songs he wrote himself, she couldn't help but smile and glared at Li Yuan with her beautiful eyes shyly. Soon, the girl version of No Makeup sung by Zhang Ziulan came to an end. On the big screen, another song appeared, it was Tomorrow Will Be Better by Xia's Haijin. Zhang Ziulan asked with a smile, who ordered this song? Li Yuan replied, I know the point. Cousin ordered it. Zhang Ziulan quickly handed over the microphone, looking forward to the singing voice of this beautiful cousin. Cousin, this is the microphone, and the stage is yours. Chapter 231 Li Yuan's Encyclopedia Introduction, Xia's Haijin's Small Request. Xia's Haijin took the phone tremblingly, leaned shyly beside Li Yuan, and looked at Li Yuan deeply with her beautiful eyes. Li Yuan smiled slightly at him and made a come-on gesture, which made her nervous and relaxed slightly. Li Yuan also held the microphone, with the rhythm of Tomorrow Will Be Better ringing in his mind, waiting to sing with Xia's Haijin. Knock gently to wake up the sleeping soul and slowly open your eyes. Look at the busy world, whether it still keeps spinning. When Xia's Haijin's voice, as light and graceful as running water from a small spring, resounded in the box, Zhang Ziulan, Sun Junjun, and Li Yuan were all stunned. Only Chu Yanyan, as Xia's Haijin's cousin, was not surprised at all. Zhang Ziulan touched Chu Yanyan's arm and praised. Yanyan, your cousin's voice is so good. I think it's even better than the original singers. Chu Yanyan nodded, well, Haijin's voice is very special and is more suitable for this kind of gentler songs. She has been singing the best among our family since she was a child. Sun Junjun looked at Li Yuan, who raised the microphone and was making preparations. He covered his mouth and chuckled, I always feel that Li Yuan looks a bit familiar. I seem to have seen him singing somewhere. Chu Yanyan curled her lips and joked, Junjun, you feel familiar with every handsome guy, right? Sun Junjun hummed softly, Yanyan, I really feel that Li Yuan is a bit familiar. I seem to have heard the song he sang somewhere. He started singing. If I listen carefully, I will surely remember it. Under the enthusiastic attention of the four girls, Li Yuan followed Xia's Haijin's beat and sang the male part softly. The spring breeze is incomprehensible and blows the hearts of young people. Let yesterday's tears dry with the memory. Listening to Li Yuan singing a duet with herself, Xia's Haijin stared at Li Yuan affectionately, her heart beating wildly. This was the first time she sang a song with Li Yuan. Many couples, in the early stages of their relationship, would sing together affectionately at KTV and other occasions. However, she and Li Yuan had already met their parents, and when they got to the last step, they sang a song together for the first time. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 395. The two continued to sing together, and the rhythm and beat became more and more in sync with the singing. Listening to Li Yuan's voice, Sun Junjun frowned and promised solemnly. Yan Yan, I can guarantee that I have definitely heard Li Yuan's songs somewhere, and I am not mistaken about his voice. Chu Yanyan smiled. Li Yuan's singing is indeed very good, his voice is very clear and penetrating. However, this is his first time to come to the University of Science and Technology. You should have never seen him, how could you have heard him sing? No, I definitely heard it, it should not have been long. Sun Junjun still insisted on his point of view. Zhang Xiaolin on the side also showed a thoughtful expression. Not only Sun Junjun, she also felt that Li Yuan's voice was familiar. When they first met in the evening, she already felt that Li Yuan looked familiar. When the three girls were whispering, Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin had almost finished singing the song. Sing out your passion, stretch out your hands, let me embrace your dream. Let our smiles be filled with the pride of youth, and offer sincere prayers for tomorrow. When the song came to an end, Li Yuan couldn't help but hug Xia's Haijin, looking at the treasure girl in front of him, and seriously praised. Haijin, you are really hidden, and your singing is really beautiful. Chu Yanyan, Zhang Xiaolin, and Sun Junjun also applauded. Chu Yanyan smiled and said, he, I'll say it, Haijin sings very well. My cousin sings very well. Sun Junjun praised sincerely, and then cast his eyes on Li Yuan, curiously asking. Li Yuan, why do I have a feeling that I seem to have heard your voice somewhere? Hearing Sun Junjun's question, Li Yuan's heart suddenly jumped, thinking, is he exposed now? In fact, he didn't care so much about whether his identity would be exposed. Before coming with Xia's Haijin, he had already made this preparation in his heart. The more terrible Shura field had been solved, so how could he be afraid of such a small problem? It doesn't exist, okay. Li Yuan smiled indifferently, senior sister, then you may have heard it wrong. It shouldn't be wrong, my memory is pretty good. Sun Junjun stared at Li Yuan closely, and began to recall frantically in her mind. Zhang Xiaolin was thinking about the sound of Li Yuan singing just now, and was thinking about who Li Yuan was. Suddenly, a flash of inspiration came to her mind, and she thought of a song she had just sung. Su Yan. Zhang Xiaolin suddenly widened her eyes and looked at Li Yuan in disbelief, her voice trembling a little. Li Yuan, are you the Xia who sang Su Yan? Before she finished speaking, her voice was interrupted by the rhythm of the music on the screen, and the next song had already started playing. The song being played was Fruits of Midsummer, which was also Xia's Haijin's song. Maybe only by giving up can I get closer to you. If I don't see you again, you will remember me. Xia's Haijin's singing voice is still so beautiful and melodious, resounding in the box. However, the three girls, Zhang Xiaolin, Sun Junjun, and Chu Yanyan, are no longer listening to the song, but are whispering about Li Yuan's true identity. Chu Yanyan was stunned and said in disbelief, Lanlan, you just said that the song Su Yan was sung by Li Yuan. Zhang Xiaolin nodded and explained in a low voice, it is likely that I feel that Li Yuan looks so familiar. Li Yuan is likely to be the one who sang Su Yan like a summer flower. Sun Junjun secretly looked at Li Yuan, who was snuggling with Xia's Haijin, holding an HTC smartphone and motioning to the two roommates. The mobile browser also displayed information about Sheng Ru Xiahua. Look, this is an introduction to Li Yuan. If this information is correct, Li Yuan's identity is very obvious. Lan Lan may be right. Li Yuan is the 18-year-old online writer, founder of Zhihu.com, and music singer who is born like a summer flower. Chu Yanyan quickly took Sun Junjun's phone and looked at the information searched on the phone. As a public figure to some extent, Li Yuan already has his own detailed introduction on Qiandu Encyclopedia. Character profile: Li Yuan, pen name born like a summer flower, was born on January 11, 1990 in Baiming County, Northern Anhui Province. He is the chairman of Datang Technology Company, the founder of Zhihu, a member of the China Writers Association, a great writer of Yuandian Chinese Network, and a famous music creator. Character deeds: writing experience. Li Yuan, on June 10, 2008, serialized the online novel Fighting Stars on Yuandian Chinese Network under the pen name Born Like a Summer Flower. On the first day of its release, it broke the record of the first order of paid novels in China. The first order data was 35,698. At present, it has become the most popular best-selling novel on Yuandian Chinese Network and the most popular best-selling novel in the country. The first edition of Fighting Stars has been published by Shanghai Fangzheng Publishing House, and the current sales have reached 1.5 million copies. In addition, Fighting Stars has created the highest subscription, reward, monthly ticket, income, and other records in the history of online literature. Character deeds: music creation. On September 30, 2008, Li Yuan once sang the original song Su Yan with a girl from Jida at the Jida welcome party at the book signing on October 7. The audience sung Just Nice to Meet You. During Jechu's Magic City concert on October 21, he sang Just Once Live. It is said that Li Yuan also created Confession Balloon, Anhe Bridge, Nanshan Nan, White Moonlight and Cinnabar Mole songs such as. Character deeds: entrepreneurial experience. Before entering university, Li Yuan had already invested tens of millions to establish an internet technology company called Datang Technology. On October 17, 2008, he launched a new forum website Zhihu.com. As of now, the number of registered users of Zhihu.com has reached 25 million, and the number of daily active users exceeds 3 million. It has been rated as one of the top 10 most potential websites in China, and the website value is estimated to exceed 300 million. Character deeds: emotional experience. Li Yuan, whose pen name is Sheng Ru Xiahua, has rich emotional experience. It is said that he maintains close relationships with many female classmates, not confirmed yet. Chu Yanyan looked at the introduction on Qiandu Encyclopedia. Her delicate body was trembling slightly, and the mobile phone she was holding almost dropped to the ground. Every introduction about Li Yuan on Qiandu Encyclopedia made her unbelievable. The previous introduction, against the background of the age of less than 19 years old, even through the screen and simply looking at the numbers, you can see how talented Li Yuan is. Especially the last item that shocked her was about Li Yuan's emotional experience. It clearly stated that Li Yuan maintained close relationships with many female college classmates. Chu Yanyan couldn't help but glance at Li Yuan, who was singing an intimate duet with Xia's Haijin. The feeling of being a talented man and a woman made in heaven made her sincerely happy for her cousin to find a man worthy of her trust. But now, Haijin, does she know this situation? Chu Yanyan felt uneasy. When she looked at Li Yuan, her eyes became very complicated, but there was no longer the feeling of extreme appreciation before, and there was even a bit more disgust. For some reason, she hates philandering scumbags. Listening to Li Yuan's voice, Zhang Xiaolan felt an inexplicable sense of shame when she thought that she had ordered his song just now, as if she had ordered Li Yuan's song. She looked at the introduction on Qiandu Encyclopedia, and her impression of Li Yuan was completely different from Chu Yanyan's. It was full of surprises. It was like a legendary idol suddenly appeared in front of him alive. And this idol is still a talented, rich, and handsome man, who is in the same room with him, singing. Sun Junjun touched Chu Yanyan's arm and asked carefully in a low voice, as if she was afraid of surprising Li Yuan and being heard by him. Yanyan, does my cousin know Li Yuan's true identity? Chu Yanyan shook her head. Xia's Haijin and herself only chatted occasionally, and they didn't talk much about Li Yuan, let alone details. Xia's Haijin only mentioned that Li Yuan was very kind to her and was her college classmate. Others, regarding online writers, music, zhu, etc., I didn't take the initiative to mention it to her. Therefore, she didn't think about it at all. My cousin looks very innocent. If she knew that Li Yuan was lying to her, would she be upset? Sun Junjun's words immediately made Chu Yanyan nervous. She knew very well the character of her cousin, who looked very weak on the outside. She was soft on the outside but strong on the inside. Because her aunt and uncle died unexpectedly when she was young, she was far more sensible than her peers. Generally speaking, the more sensible and precocious a child is, the stronger his heart will be. But similarly, this strong heart will be covered with a protective film to protect itself from harm. And once this protective film breaks, the stronger your heart is, the more it will collapse. Chu Yanyan was extremely worried, fearing that her poor cousin would not be able to think straight and do something stupid. Lanlan, Junjun, please don't mention this matter in front of Haijin for a while. The three of us will just pretend we don't know. I'll ask Haijin in private. Zhang Xiaolan and Sun Junjun looked at each other and nodded. They could understand Chu Yanyan's worries. Don't worry, Yanyan, we understand. I think we should not make such a conclusion yet. The description on Kandu Encyclopedia is not accurate. Anyone can change the entry information. It may be false. Yes, Yanyan, let's sing first and have a nice chat later. It's not very convenient in a KTV. Chu Yanyan nodded and sighed in her heart, we should do whatever we want now. We will talk about everything when we get back. After Xia's Haijin finished singing 3 songs, Li Yuan also sang a few songs. He only focused on interacting closely with Xia's Haijin, but did not pay attention to the expressions of Chu Yanyan and the other 3. However, every time he finished singing, the 2 girls Zhang Xiaolan and Sun Junjun would always clap extra hard. It made Li Yuan think that he was really good at singing. The singing at KTV lasted until about 10 o'clock in the evening, and Chu Yanyan asked to go back to the dormitory. If it was any later, the dormitory would be closed. As for the 2 girls, Zhang Xiaolan and Sun Junjun, they still looked unfinished and wanted to continue singing for a while. Li Yuan, we had a lot of fun singing today. We really have to go back, otherwise the dormitory will be closed and we will have nowhere to live. Chu Yanyan looked at Li Yuan deeply and insisted on going back now. Okay, let's go. Li Yuan would naturally not force her to stay. Singing with a few girls is not as comfortable as going home to play poker games with the treasure girl. In this KTV, when he was singing and touching Xia's Haijin's thigh, his brother had already become restless. Next to the gate of the Institute of Technology, Chu Yanyan looked at the reflections of Li Yuan and Xia's Haijin under the street lights, and her emotions were inexplicable. When she was singing in the KTV, she wanted to ask Xia's Haijin from the side several times, but she finally held back. Li Yuan, Haijin, drive slower when you go back. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 396. Sister Yanyan, you 2 seniors, please go to bed early, bye. Bye bye, Junior Li Yuan, Come to Polytechnic University to play with us more often. Be safe at night. Junior, wait until the weekend, and we will go to your school to play with you. Seeing Li Yuan drive away with Xia's Haijin, the three junior girls no longer kept secret when talking. Sun Junjun, Yan Yan, I feel that my cousin doesn't know the specific situation yet. The two of them are in a very good relationship now. You must be careful as you remind me. I feel that my cousin is focused on Li Yuan. Zhang Ziulan suggested, go back to the dormitory first and check it out on the internet. If Li Yuan is really like the information found in the encyclopedia entries, he will definitely not be unknown. Searching on mobile phones is still not convenient. Go back to the dormitory and search on the computer. It's much more convenient. Chu Yanyan looked at the disappeared BMW X6 and nodded slightly, feeling a little uneasy and hesitant in her heart. If Li Yuan's identity is really what they guessed, how should they tell their cousin? She is pathetic enough. If she is hit by her emotions and does something stupid, she will regret it for the rest of her life. When the three girls returned to the dormitory, they didn't have time to take off their makeup, so they eagerly turned on the computer and searched for related news about Li Yuan, born like a summer flower, fighting starry sky, and so on. Many of these messages are public, especially after the popularity of Have a Knife just promoted by Zhu, and because Li Yuan personally advertised it among the readers, the three girls searched a lot of information about it without any effort. Li Yuan's introduction and 3 videos. Sun Junjun exclaimed, "Look, I found it. This is the duet between Li Yuan and a beautiful girl at Jaida's welcome party. They sang the song without makeup. Li Yuan and this girl were holding hands at the scene. It was definitely not an ordinary relationship, so we confirmed it." Chu Yanyan looked at the girl holding hands with Li Yuan in the video and her mood suddenly became tense, and she felt a little depressed and out of breath. This girl is also extremely beautiful, not inferior to her cousin. She is full of sunshine, confidence, and cheerfulness, and her singing voice is also exceptionally beautiful. When singing with Li Yuan, the happiness that comes from the heart cannot be faked. This is a feeling that only couples in love can have. Is this also Li Yuan's girlfriend? Chu Yanyan murmured to herself, with mixed feelings in her heart and a sense of urgency. Zhang Ziulan pointed to a video from Jay Chu's Magic City concert and spoke excitedly. Junjun, open this video quickly. Last weekend, Jay Lun's concert was held. It is said that the minimum ticket cost is 500 plus, which is a month's living expenses. The infield ticket costs several thousand. Is Li Yuan on stage as a special guest? It is very possible that with Li Yuan's status and financial resources, he is qualified as a special guest. Listen quickly, what's the name of the song Li Yuan sings? The picture quality this time was even clearer than the picture quality at the Jaida New Year party. After all, it was a professional concert and all the equipment was top-notch. When they heard that Li Yuan sang a song live, dedicated to the beautiful girl in the audience, Sun Junjun and Zhang Ziulan suddenly fell silent. Zhong Tingyu's appearance is undeniable. She has no blind spots in all aspects of beauty, and has a kind of cold goddess style. Compared with the gentle and attractive Xia's Haijin, the white moonlight like Baiwuxi, the lively and cute Zhang Juyu, and Zhong Tingyu's appearance, they are more lethal to girls. The three girls were silent in unison, listening to Li Yuan's affectionate singing of the song just once. After listening to this song, many things are obvious and there is no need to think about it at all. The fact before them was that, in addition to his cousin, Li Yuan, a playboy, also had 2 other very beautiful girlfriends. Looking at her best friend who looked complicated and silent, Zhang Ziulan coughed and reminded her tactfully. Yanyan, I think if you talk to your cousin, you should pay attention to the method and find a suitable time. It's best to lay the groundwork first. Don't be too abrupt. My cousin may not be able to bear it. Sun Junjun also means the same thing. It's best to tell her face to face. With you by your side, you can advise your cousin and prevent her from doing stupid things. Chu Yanyan nodded silently. She naturally understood the good intentions of her two roommates. I know. I'll test Hyjin tactfully first, and wait until the weekend before I go to Daxia University to find her. On the way back, Li Yuan and Xiao's Hyjin chatted. It can be felt that Xiao's Hyjin is very happy today, with a happy smile on her face from beginning to end. Hyjin, you sing really well. I thought you didn't know how to sing. Xiao's Hyjin smiled shyly and explained, I liked it very much when I was a child. Later, after my parents passed away, I rarely sang and only listened to it occasionally. Li Yuan nodded. The death of parents has a great impact on adults, let alone a teenage girl. It would be strange if it had no impact. Li Yuan held Xiao's Hyjin's little hand and comforted him, don't worry, I will take care of everything from now on. I think the spirits of my uncle and aunt will only want to see you and Anning grow up happily. Yeah, Xiao's Hyjin responded sweetly, looking at the man in front of her, there was a sentence in her heart, echoing deep in her heart. In this life, I only have you. Li Yuan drove back and suggested, Hyjin, my mother and Zixia should go to bed, let's go back to Jiangnanyuan community. I haven't lived anywhere for a long time recently. Xiao's Hyjin nodded shyly. In her heart, Jiangnanyuan is the home of her and Li Yuan, and also her own home. In that home, both of them can be more relaxed and will be more integrated into each other. Thinking of this, Xiao's Hyjin suddenly blushed and stopped talking. Li Yuan kept driving and didn't realize the change in Xiao's Hyjin's expression, and continued to chat. Hyjin, I have contacted a driving school for you. It is not far from our school. Go there to learn on weekends. It will be much more convenient when you have a driving school and a car. When the time comes, you can ask your roommates if they want to go. It won't be so boring if you have someone to accompany you. I may be a little busy recently and can't accompany you every day. I am going to do some new projects on the company's hit website, and the game King of Glory has also reached a critical period. Listening to Li Yuan's words, Xiao's Hyjin gently held Li Yuan's hand and smiled lightly. It's okay, I can do it myself. Back to Jiangnanyuan, as soon as he entered the room, Li Yuan couldn't wait to hug Xiao's Hyjin by the waist and put his head against her. Only in his own home can he throw away all the burdens and clothes and enjoy the true happiness between men and women. The two of them had already been ignited by the fire of youth when they were in KTV, and at this moment, it quickly burned fiercely. After the storm subsided, Xiao's Hyjin lay shyly and obediently in Li Yuan's arms, blinking her bright eyes, drawing circles on Li Yuan's chest with her fingers, and spoke with some trepidation. Husband, can I ask you for something? Hearing Xiao's Hyjin calling him husband, Li Yuan's heart throbbed, pinched her big and small bears, and smiled. Good baby, what's the matter? Xiao's Hyjin bit her lip, her heart pounding, a little uneasy, and her voice was like a mosquito. Can you write a song for me too? Chapter 232 Training the Treasure Girl, Xiaobai's birthday anxiety, asking for monthly tickets. Listening to Xiao's Hyjin's request, Li Yuan pinched her uneasy little face, thinking, this is nothing, it's easy for him. However, Li Yuan decided to tease her. Pretending to be serious, he asked calmly, Zijin, how did you come up with this request? Xia Zijin suddenly became nervous when she saw Li Yuan's serious expression. Her big eyes were already flashing with tears, and she answered hesitantly. Ah! If you don't want to write, then don't write it. Li Yuan laughed dumbly when he saw this. This treasure girl has not changed much. Even though the two of them have reached this kind of relationship, they are now completely in a state of frankness. She is still so shy and cautious, and she doesn't have the kind of behavior that other girls like to act like a spoiled child or make unreasonable troubles. Li Yuan knew in his heart that there were only two reasons for this situation. First, because of the influence of family and environment, this kind of character has been subtly imprinted in the depths of thought, and it is difficult to change in a short time. Second, she still lacks enough sense of security around him, and what he did can't let her let go of her psychological burden and act spoiled and willful at will. So, she was so cautious even when she asked him to write a song for her. She must have known that she had written songs for Zhangziu, Zhongtingyu, and Bai Wuxi. If it were any other girl, she would definitely lose her temper. But this is Xia's Haijin, a treasure girl with a gentle personality that makes people feel distressed. However, Li Yuan did not want this treasure girl who only had her eyes and the world to live so cautiously. Li Yuan directly hugged her in his arms and kissed her forehead. He stared at her tearful eyes seriously and spoke solemnly. Haijin, you are my girlfriend, and you will be my wife in the future. You don't have to be so cautious in front of me, afraid of saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. You are my girlfriend, you can act like a spoiled child to me, be willful to me, and be angry with me. If you have a bad temper with me, I will never leave you. I say this, Haijin, can you understand? Xia's Haijin met Li Yuan's gaze and listened to his words that sounded very domineering, but the content was particularly warm. In an instant, the whole person was surrounded by a sweet feeling. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 397. She nodded her head heavily, her voice choked with happiness. Husband, I understand. Li Yuan shaved the beautiful woman's nose in his arms and smiled mischievously, then you can say the request just now from the perspective of your girlfriend. Ah, Xia's Haijin's head was confused and her eyes were confused. She didn't quite understand. Li Yuan chuckled, that's what I just taught you. Repeat it in a girlfriend's coquettish tone. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan shyly, her heart pounding. This time she understood what Li Yuan meant. He smoothed the hair that was scattered on his shoulders, thinking of his girlfriend acting coquettishly in his mind, and said in a voice as loud as an ant. Husband, write a song for me too, okay? Listening to Xia's Haijin's coquettish tone, Li Yuan suddenly trembled, and then felt as if there was a surge of electricity in his body. His body was numbed by Xia's Haijin's coquettish tone. Looking at his treasured girl with flushed face and shy gaze at him, Li Yuan felt a sense of ecstasy. It's really warm and oily, sounds so good, and has so much feeling. This extreme sense of contrast made him a little addicted. Li Yuan rubbed Xia's Haijin's head and praised it, not bad, I feel like this. Haha, you should hold my arm and shake it gently. This feels more like coquettishness between a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan secretly and asked in a low voice, hubby, how about I do it again? Okay, Li Yuan's eyes lit up and he nodded quickly. Xia's Haijin glanced at Li Yuan, her face was flushed, and she put her jade arms around Li Yuan's arms. Xiong Dakshan also rubbed his arm slightly and spoke again in a coquettish tone. Husband, I also want you to write a song for me, okay? It tastes right, Li Yuan's heart was excited, and he felt numb all over his body. He immediately turned over and hugged this treasure girl. Haijin, you did a great job, he, my husband is here to give you a reward. As he said that, he put his head down suddenly to check Xiong's condition at close range. By the time the game ended, it was already past 12 o'clock in the evening. Li Yuan looked at Xia's Haijin, who was a little tired, and said with a smile, Haijin, I really thought of a song that is more suitable for you. In the next few days, I will learn the music score and sing it to you. Okay, hubby, Xia's Haijin coquettishly. The next day, the two went to school together. Li Yuan took advantage of the fact that it was a big class, so he sneaked back to the dormitory, picked up the guitar, and started playing a song according to the music composition method taught by Xiao Yuer. It would be fine if Xiao's Haijin's singing was not good, but Li Yuan heard Xiao's Haijin's warm and intoxicating singing voice with his own eyes last night, so he naturally helped her choose a song that was very suitable for her. In composing, playing, and singing, half a day passed in the blink of an eye. With his excellent learning ability and musical sense, it only took most of the day for Li Yuan to finish the song he prepared for Xiao's Haijin. That afternoon and evening, it was also the same old place of the school called Yuanyang Slope. Li Yuan called Xiao's Haijin and came here. Seeing Li Yuan holding the guitar, Xiao's Haijin's heart was beating fast, and her eyes were waiting expectantly for the song Li Yuan wrote for her. Li Yuan took out a sheet of music from his backpack, which recorded a lyric. The lyrics were slightly changed, making it more like a love song between lovers. Handing the lyrics to Xiao's Haijin, touching her head, Li Yuan spoke affectionately. "Haijin, I fell in love with you when I met you on the day of the first freshman class meeting. Your every smile and every move attracted me deeply. Being able to meet you feels like the happiest and luckiest thing in my life. I may not be a good man and cannot give you all my love, but I promise that I will always love you and never leave you until death. This song Little Lucky is given to you. I hope you like it." Listening to what Li Yuan said, Xiao's Haijin's hands holding the colored paper with lyrics were trembling slightly, and her big talking eyes were full of all kinds of emotions. He murmured softly to himself, with very firm eyes, responding to Li Yuan's words. "Li Yuan, I am very lucky to meet you." Li Yuan plucked the strings, keeping his eyes on this treasured girl, and spoke very gently. "I heard raindrops falling on the green grass. I heard the end of get out of class bell ringing in the distance. Why didn't I realize that I met you? Who has been silently guarding the place in the wind and rain? It turns out that you are the luck I want to keep the most. The decision to fight the world for me. The rain that accompanies me. Oh, how lucky I am." After writing an adapted version of Little Lucky for Xiao's Haijin, Li Yuan began to live a happy life again. In the blink of an eye, the time has come to the end of October. Li Yuan is still the same every day. When he encounters professional classes or interesting classes, he will occasionally attend classes. At other times, he either goes to the company to handle business, or uses his free time to code in the office. In addition, I took Zhong Tingyu to check the renovation progress, choose purchase channels, contact the packaging bags and equipment for making various milk teas, etc. From start to finish, opening a new milk tea shop is not easy. It's only 2008, and there are still relatively few milk tea franchise stores. After more than 3 months of entrepreneurial experience from August to now, Li Yuan has truly experienced the feeling of entrepreneurship is not easy. It is really difficult to eat a fat man in one breath. Just building a milk tea catering brand is already like this. If you want to develop a company into a big technology company like BAT, Huawei, Dami, Byte, etc., it is really difficult. It is not just a verbal talk, and it is enough to spend a lot of money. It needs to be implemented from all aspects and requires a lot of effort. Some people say that even a pig can take off if it stands on the wind. But if this pig eats too much and is not strong enough, it may be blown away by the wind. Even if this pig is strong enough to fly up with the strong wind, if this pig cannot control its own balance and cannot use the force to fight the force, it will not be able to stand steadily in the wind, and it will be killed sooner or later. Just like the current Zhihu, it has been half a month since it was officially launched, and the number of active users per day has begun to decline. These are the users who just registered. Some of them have already lost interest in the site and have thrown it into the trash. It is not easy to maintain long-term and healthy development. It must be attractive enough. On October 30th, Li Yuan came to the company to solve various new problems that have arisen in the company. In the conference room, Li Yuan talked about the new development strategy of Zhihu. Zhihu is our company's first product and also the most successful one. Now its popularity has dropped a bit. The reason has just been explained by director Lin. Don't panic. This is normal. Now, what we need to do is to increase the attractiveness of Zhihu, so that those registered users can pay attention to Zhihu again, and those who have not registered can re-register. The number of netizens in the country has exceeded 500 million. Among them, our target population is a broad group of 16–60 years old. This age group also occupies the vast majority of the main force of netizens in my country. The plan to increase the attraction of new user registration, increase gimmicks and hotspots, and increase user activity has been issued to everyone. It must be implemented according to the results of the discussion. After the meeting, Li Yuan was a little exhausted. The development of the company really involved too much of his energy. Recently, he has less time to spend with his 3 girlfriends. Li Yuan took out his mobile phone and looked at the date, October 30th. Hey, I spent time with Xiaoyu today, who should I spend time with tomorrow? It seems to be Zhaijin. A -1314, girls' dormitory. At night, Bai Wuxi was alone looking out the window in a daze. Zhong Tingyu was not in the dormitory, but looking at her happy expression before she left, she should be spending time with Li Yuan. Wang Lisha looked at Bai Wuxi's lost expression, walked to her side, and asked with concern. Wuxi, what's wrong with you today? Why do you look unhappy? Bai Wuxi shook her head with a forced smile, nothing. Wang Lisha sat down, held Bai Wuxi's little hand, and asked. No, Wuxi, how can I not understand you? You must be unhappy. What happened? Tell me, are you in conflict with your boyfriend again? Lisha, it's really not, don't guess. Bai Wuxi still didn't want to say. Seeing that Bai Wuxi insisted on not telling herself, Wang Lisha sighed helplessly. Okay. These few days, she carefully discovered that Bai Wuxi seemed to be hiding something in her heart, and she always felt a little depressed. Today, this depressed mood seemed to have reached its peak. The white moonlight is shining, and you remember her goodness. The cinnabar mole is hard to disappear for a long time, do you know? Suddenly, the cell phone rang. This is the cell phone ringtone she recorded herself based on the song White Moonlight and Cinnabar Mole written by Li Yuan for her. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 398. Bai Wuxi quickly took the phone, expecting it to be the man calling. But when I saw the name of the caller, that sense of anticipation suddenly turned into a deep sense of disappointment. The call came from my best friend Wang Yuchen. As soon as the call was connected, Wang Yuchen's concerned voice came. Xiaobai, what are you doing? Bai Wuxi replied boredly, I'm in a daze. Wang Yuchen asked doubtfully, in a daze? Xiaobai, what's wrong with you today? Bai Wuxi glanced out the window, and the feeling of loss in her mind filled her body. Today is October 30th, and tomorrow is my 19th birthday. But until now, Li Yuan has not taken any action, not even making a phone call, as if he had forgotten his birthday. Bai Wuxi, I feel a little annoyed. Wang Yuchen, what's wrong? Tomorrow isn't your birthday. At this time, you shouldn't be happy. What's there to be upset about? Bai Wuxi. Wang Yuchen, Xiaobai, although tomorrow is not a weekend, it is your first birthday in college. How are you going to celebrate it? I have prepared gifts for you in advance today. Listening to his best friend's words, Bai Wuxi became even more irritable. Even Wang Yuchen could remember his birthday, but Li Yuan, a bastard, seemed to have forgotten his birthday. Bai Wuxi, Yuchen, I feel like Li Yuan forgot my birthday. Wang Yuchen, how is this possible? How could Li Yuan forget your birthday? Do you still remember what Li Yuan did for you on your birthday in the first semester of your senior year of high school? Biwaxi, I remember, he folded 999 colorful paper cranes for me. On each paper crane, Li Yuan also wrote a blessing. In addition, he also gave me a pair of earrings and a pair of sports shoes. Shoe. Wang Yuchen, yes, 999 paper cranes. I heard from Suji that Li Yuan came home from school at around 10 o'clock every night, and stayed until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning for several weeks. Wang Yuchen, Li Yuan was so kind to you before. I feel that even if he forgets his own birthday, he will definitely not forget yours. Don't worry, and wait for the surprise he has prepared for you. Listening to what Wang Yuchen said, Biwaxi breathed a sigh of relief and felt less disappointed. Biwaxi, I hope so. I don't want any big surprises. I just hope he can just stay with me tomorrow, and I'll be satisfied. Wang Yuchen, hee, Xiaobai, you are really a little bit in love now, just like those lovers in love, all they can think about is him. Suji, Wang Shui, and I are also going to celebrate your birthday with you tomorrow. Huan not welcome. When he heard that 3 high school classmates were celebrating his birthday, Biwaxi suddenly felt warm in his heart. Suddenly, she thought of a question and asked doubtfully. Yuchen, have you and Suji reconciled again? Wang Yuchen, well, we have reconciled for the time being. My birthday is coming soon, so I will give him another chance. Listening to her best friend's answer, Biwaxi was speechless. A week ago, Wang Yuchen called her to complain, saying that Suji had been cheating a lot in the past month, and the relationship between the two had weakened a lot, and she had already proposed a breakup. Unexpectedly, in just a week, the two of them have reconciled again. The speed of this transformation was too fast, making her a little dazzled. Biwaxi, hee, Yuchen, how far has your relationship with Suji reached? Wang Yuchen, what other step can I take? It's definitely not as fast as you and Li Yuan. I just allow him to hold hands occasionally. Biwaxi was shocked. The university had been in session for 2 months, and the two of them were still just holding hands. Yuchen, your progress is too slow. Wang Yuchen snorted and started to complain, do you remember that night when we went to KTV to sing? We all drank that night. Biwaxi nodded shyly. Of course she remembered that night. It was her first time. In a drunken state, she gave everything she had to Li Yuan without reservation. Wang Yuchen continued, you don't know, that night, I was almost succeeded by Suji. After that, I kept a distance and didn't let him have so many opportunities to get close. After a pause, Wang Yuchen snorted softly and spoke arrogantly. A girl's first time is very precious. Suji didn't make me give all my impulses before, so I naturally have to guard it. Even if I let him hold hands now and then, he would be happy as hell. Listening to Wang Yuchen's words, Biwaxi felt very complicated. She was not stupid, and she could feel it now. Sometimes, Wang Yuchen's approach was a bit inappropriate. It seemed that he was deliberately trying to tease Suji and give him some sweetness, but he didn't want to make it clear. It feels like riding a donkey looking for a horse. Wang Yuchen, Xiaobai, it's settled. The 3 of us will go to your school to find you tomorrow. You, a little rich woman, must treat us well. Biwaxi, well, let me know when you come tomorrow. After hanging up the phone with Wang Yuchen, Biwaxi looked out the window with complicated thoughts. Although Wang Yuchen swore on the phone that Li Yuan would never forget his birthday. But she always had a bad feeling lingering in her heart. After hesitating for a long time, Biwaxi looked at the time. It was already around 10 o'clock in the evening, and she decided to send a message to Li Yuan. Biwaxi, brother, what are you doing? After mustering up the courage to send this message, Biwaxi waited anxiously for Li Yuan's reply. She kept waiting until almost 11 o'clock when her phone vibrated slightly. Biwaxi quickly took out her phone. Li Yuan, I'm taking a shower, go to bed early. Seeing Li Yuan's plain message, Bai Wuxi felt wronged. In an instant, a few tears appeared in her beautiful eyes, as if they would fall at any time. Chapter 233, a net worth of over 100 million, Bai Wuxi's special invitation. Looking at Li Yuan's reply on the phone, Bai Wuxi's tears of grievance flowed out in an instant, wetting her face. Stinky brother, if you really forget, I will hate you forever. Bai Wuxi murmured to herself. She was very scared that Li Yuan had forgotten their first birthday after they were together. That night, Bai Wuxi tossed and turned and suffered from insomnia. Jinxia Villa Community. Li Yuan came back from taking a shower and looked at Zhong Tingyu, who was already asleep beside him. Her long white legs were particularly dazzling, slender and white like white jade, and they were as light as nothing on his body. Such a beautiful girl actually kicked the quilt. Li Yuan muttered with a smile, pulled up the quilt and covered Zhong Tingyu. The weather has entered autumn, and it has become a little cooler at night. In 2 months, it will be the new year. Yawning, Li Yuan was also a little tired. He entered the sage mode twice in a row, and his body began to alarm. He was very suspicious that those couples who lived together, men who had sex several times a day, had to be so strong to do it day after day. He had only lasted less than a month, and he already felt a little tired. When people are greedy for wine, they are prone to drinking too much, and their bodies can slowly not bear it. Fortunately, he was still young and at the peak of his energy. With the blessing of the rebirth plug-in, he was still able to cope with it. If there are more, it would be too much to handle. Li Yuan picked up his phone and looked at the messages. Bai Wuxi didn't respond after he replied, I'm taking a shower, go to bed early. Li Yuan flipped through the messages and thought to himself. Huh? Why do I feel like I've forgotten something very important? But he didn't remember it for a while. Li Yuan continued to look at other messages. The most messages on his phone every day were not from his 3 girlfriends, but from Big Bear Girl. Since the thrilling scene in the bathroom of the seafood restaurant half a month ago, Big Bear Girl would send her messages every day. There was almost no cover-up of her covetousness for him in the messages, which made him speechless. However, Li Yuan was too lazy to reply, nor did he block her, and just left it there. His attitude was very clear. In one word, he looked down on her. In addition to Big Bear Girl, the sexy goddess instructor Chi Siyu would occasionally send him a few messages, basically about asking for songs. Li Yuan was completely confused about Chi Siyu's thoughts and feelings. He felt that he could not control her for the time being, not because she was too big, but because he was worried. He had finally sorted out the relationship with his 3 girlfriends and reached a temporary peaceful coexistence and non-interference situation. He did not dare to provoke other girls at all, because that would explode. Even if he had the intention, he did not have the courage. So, these days, he deliberately avoided this sexy goddess. Li Yuan was about to turn off his phone to sleep, when suddenly, the phone vibrated. He picked up the phone and saw that it was a QQ message sent by Suji. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 399. Suji, hey, brother Yuan, have you slept yet? We are going to visit you tomorrow. What are your plans for the evening? Li Yuan, tomorrow? Isn't tomorrow Friday? How come you have time to come? Don't you have to go to class? Suji, damn, brother Yuan, you didn't forget something so important tomorrow. Li Yuan, important? What? Suji, no, brother Yuan, tomorrow is Xiaobai's birthday, did you really forget? Yuchen, Xiao's Hui and I have already agreed to celebrate my sister-in-law's birthday. Li Yuan's head was confused, and he suddenly woke up. It turned out that tomorrow was Bai Weixi's birthday. No wonder he always felt that he had forgotten something important. Thinking about the message that Bai Weixi had sent not long ago, he immediately understood the reason. Li Yuan coughed and replied, "How could I forget? I thought you didn't know. Suji, Yu Chen reminded me to prepare a gift a week ago. I couldn't forget it even if I wanted to." Li Yuan, "Okay, by the way, Daji, how is your relationship with Xiao Leijiao? How far has it progressed? Are you reconciled now?" "Suji, it's still the same, a little better than before. This girl is really strange. The closer you get to her, the more she wants to stay away. When you want to keep your distance, she will take the initiative to stick to you again. It's really unpredictable." "Suji, well, brother Yuan, I have something to tell you. Don't be angry." "Li Yuan, what's the matter? What did you do to let me down again?" "Suji, ahem, Yuan, well, I sold part of the Biguandi stocks I held a few days ago and cashed out." Before Li Yuan replied, Suji hurriedly explained the reason. "I'm out of money recently. I'm going on a date with Yuchen and want to eat something delicious, but I can't let her pay. I've been eating steamed buns and lauganma recently, but I'm embarrassed to ask my parents for more, and I'm embarrassed to borrow from my classmates. Some of my college roommates are poorer than me. So, I sold 20% of my stocks to save the day." Li Yuan smiled, "What's there to be angry about? The stocks are yours. You can sell them anytime you want." "Suji, I was afraid that you would be angry, brother Yuan. I wanted to consult you that day, but you were busy, so I didn't. Sorry to bother you. I only sold 20%, it shouldn't be a big deal, right?" "Li Yuan, what can it be? Now this stock is about to reach its peak. It is impossible to rise sharply again in a short period of time. If you want to sell it, now is the right time. I am also ready to sell some of it." He bought this Biguandi stock after selling the copyright of the game Battle Starry Sky. He bought it for 20 million. Now the total value of the stock has reached 160 million. It has increased eightfold in just 1 month. It is already a huge profit. According to the memory of the previous life, the value of the stock will probably rise to about 220 million before it starts to fall. But Li Yuan is not sure whether the butterfly effect will cause the stock price to fall in advance, or whether the dealer will manipulate and harvest leaks because of the 20 million he invested. But he is not afraid. Biguandi's stock is a sure win business. If you hold it for a long time, you can also make dozens of times. Unless there is a drastic change from the original time and space, causing Biguandi to be destroyed directly, but Li Yuan thinks this is impossible. Now everything is exactly the same as the original time and space, without any changes. Even if Suji didn't say it today, he was ready to sell some of his stocks one by one in the next 2 days to cash out. Soon, the milk tea shop will officially open, and it will also require a lot of capital investment. Suji heard that Li Yuan was also going to sell his stocks, and couldn't help asking curiously, "Brother Yuan, out of curiosity, how many shares of Biguandi did you buy?" Li Yuan, haha, how about you guess? "Suji, I can't see through you now. With your current wealth, I feel that it must be at least 1 million, right?" Li Yuan, 1 million? Add a zero. Suji, tens of millions, brother Yuan, is this true? You bought tens of millions of Biguandi shares. Li Yuan, well, I just bought 20 million worth of stocks for fun. 20 million, and you're just playing around. Suji seemed to be shocked by Li Yuan's pretense. After a long while, he replied again. "Brother Yuan, no, Godfather, you will be my godfather from now on. I am really convinced. I calculated that the 20 million stocks are now worth more than 160 million. You are now a real billionaire. It's amazing. 100 million, 100 million, I can't spend it all in my lifetime. Just depositing it in the bank and earning interest, I can make millions every year. I dare not even dream about it. Brother Yuen, your thighs are too thick, I can hardly hold them. I will follow you in the future. Looking at the exclamation messages sent by Suji, Li Yuen laughed. He is now a real asset of over 100 million. If he sells the Zhe website, according to the current market valuation of the Zhe website, plus the King of Glory game and various real estate, his net worth will exceed 500 million, and there will be no problem. This is already a lot of money. Even in Shanghai, his net worth is considered to be among the top few. Daji, if you want to sell it, just sell it. I feel that this stock doesn't have much room for appreciation. You don't need to follow me. Our situations are different. It depends on your own wishes. By the way, don't let this matter spread. I don't want too many people to know that I trade stocks. Suji, I understand, Brother Yuen, you are rich and can withstand the turmoil. I am just a small drop of water and will not stand out at all in the sea. Suji, hey, Brother Yuen, thanks to you, I have earned more than 100,000 now, and I am satisfied. It is the first time I have so much money in my hands, and I don't even know how to spend it. When you are free, as long as you say something, I'll treat you to a good meal together. Li Yuen, okay, that's it? I have something else to do. Suji, hey, Brother Yuen, please pay attention to your health and don't get exhausted. Li Yuen couldn't help laughing and laughed and cursed in his heart, you, I have a diamond kidney, a golden gun can't fall down, so I'm going to sleep. After finishing the chat with Suji, Li Yuen breathed a sigh of relief. He had really forgotten Baiwaxi's birthday. Thinking of Baiwaxi's birthday, he couldn't help but think of the scene where he celebrated Baiwaxi's birthday twice in high school and carefully prepared birthday gifts. And the scene when he came to Daxia University to give Baiwaxi a birthday gift after going to college. It was tomorrow, Baiwaxi's birthday, that he met Zhong Tingyu for the first time. Li Yuen felt a little irritable. He was most afraid of birthdays now, especially Baiwaxi's birthday. And this birthday is definitely not appropriate. She just took Baiwaxi's first blood. She even forgot her birthday. She must hate herself for the rest of her life. It's only a few minutes away. It's October 31st. Xiaobai is already 19 years old. Let's send a birthday greeting on time. As for how to prepare birthday gifts and birthday parties, we'll talk about it tomorrow. It should still be too late, Li Yuen, he murmured in his heart. Glancing at Zhong Tingyu, who was still sleeping soundly, she quietly got out of bed and came to the balcony of the living room. Dark clouds have covered the starry sky, leaving only a few stars looming in the night sky. Li Yuen looked at the time, waited until 12 o'clock, and immediately dialed Baiwaxi's number. Almost as soon as the call was dialed, within a few seconds, the call was immediately connected. Li Yuen smiled, Xiaobai. Happy birthday. Baiwaxi's voice was choked with sobs as she listened to Li Yuen's immediate birthday greetings. Brother, I thought you forgot my birthday. Li Yuen felt guilty and quickly replied, how could it be possible? I will definitely remember your birthday. Didn't I call you on the first minute of your birthday? Hee, I was the first one to send birthday wishes. Bar. After hearing Li Yuen's answer, Baiwaxi turned from worry to joy, and the worry in his heart disappeared. Well, brother, of course you are the first one. I haven't slept, just waiting for your call. I was just thinking about it, if you don't call me, I will stay up all night and keep waiting. You. Li Yuen thought to himself, fortunately Suji reminded him, otherwise he would have almost forgotten. How come, Xiaobai, how do you want to spend your birthday tomorrow? Bai Wuxi smiled sweetly and said, I don't care. Anyway, I just want you to accompany me, and I'll leave the rest to you. He, is that okay? Li Yuan was speechless. This is the difference between Bai Wuxi and Xia's Haijin. Bai Wuxi is very good at acting coquettishly, but Xia's Haijin is not so good at it. Of course, Zhong Tingyu is also very good at acting like a baby. Acting like a baby is just like a woman's nature. It comes naturally from birth, even for a 3 or 4-year-old girl. This is a nature engraved in women's genes. Okay, then just follow my arrangements. I promise to give you a big surprise. As Li Yuan said this, he was already thinking about how to celebrate Bai Wuxi's birthday. If you celebrate your birthday like you did in your previous life, you would just invite a few roommates and friends to have a delicious meal together, then go to a KTV to sing a song, eat a birthday cake, send birthday gifts and birthday wishes, and everything will be fine. Although he could do this time, he felt that it would be better to have a more ritualistic feel. At the very least, he had just boasted so much that he was worthy of his current status. I'm a billionaire and I want to celebrate my girlfriend's birthday. Why don't I make it more lively? When Li Yuan was thinking, Bai Wuxi took the initiative to talk about the past. Brother, do you still remember the day you celebrated my birthday last year? Of course I remember. Li Yuan nodded with a faint smile on his lips. At that time, he really thought that he and Bai Wuxi would become a real couple after the college entrance examination, so he was very careful when preparing birthday gifts. Sometimes, when I think back, I feel very, very stupid. Perhaps, that is the youth who is ignorant and will believe in pure emotions. Bai Wuxi pursed her lips and snickered, with a sweet smile on her face. Brother, I still keep the paper cranes you gave me in my hometown. He, how did you remember at that time that you wrote a confession on each paper crane? Thinking of the stupid things he had done, Li Yuan was speechless. He could think childishly, folding 999 paper cranes by himself, and wrote a confession or poem on each paper crane. How could this be? A kind of stupid behavior. In the end, apart from moving myself, it is useless and useless. Because, for most girls, these tricks may be useful when they are ignorant and naive, and they will be touched instantly. But when they really go to college or enter the society after graduation, this childish behavior is not as impressive as sending a red envelope with 1314. But for a boy who sends you a red envelope with 1314 may not really love you. But a boy who can personally fold 999 paper cranes for you must love you deeply. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 400. As time goes by, as we grow older, as we gain experience, our feelings will become less and less pure. Why, everyone's white moonlight is mostly in high school, this is the reason. Li Yuan smiled lightly and said, maybe at that time, I just wanted to leave you a beautiful memory. 1,000 paper cranes, doesn't it mean missing you? I thought you had thrown it away. Bai Wuxi smiled sweetly, stinky brother, how could I throw it away? I secretly saved every gift you gave me. I was thinking, when we are old, I will take out every gift you gave me, just like recalling the past time. Brother, where is the birthday gift I gave you, are you still keeping it? Yes, I am keeping it, and I put it in my hometown. Oh, you can't throw it away for me, no Ran, you know. Brother, I suddenly miss you so much now, I really want you to accompany me. Will you always accompany me? Like the love letter you wrote to me in high school, the seas run dry and the rocks crumble, and the heart that loves me will never change. Yes, I will. Brother, I love you forever too. In the evening, Yuchen said that she, Suji, and Wang Shui came to our school to celebrate my birthday, did you know? Unconsciously, the two stood on the balcony and chatted for a long time, just like they had just developed feelings in high school. There were always endless topics to talk about, and they always wanted to share each other's lives. After hanging up the phone with Bai Wuxi, Li Yuan looked at the night sky that had begun to close its eyes and fall asleep, and sighed in his heart. This feeling just now was something he could not hope for in his previous life. Everyone is Zhang Wansen, but not all women are Lin Baizing. Early the next morning, after the two had another love breakfast, Li Yuan drove back to school with Zhong Tingyu. After Zhong Tingyu left, Li Yuan sent a text message to Xia's Haijin to explain the situation, then drove to the company alone and began to look for a suitable place to hold a birthday party on the internet. It must be said that Shanghai is an international metropolis. As long as you can think of it, you will find it here. In the end, Li Yuan chose a place with good reviews to hold a birthday party. He drove to the site to check it out in person, and finally ordered a birthday package worth 48,000 yuan, including entertainment activities, programs, meals, birthday cakes, etc. Li Yuan sat in the car, feeling a little tired, muttering in his heart, it would be better to follow the traditional model and directly eat and sing one-stop service, where is it so troublesome? The birthday party is done, and I will buy another gift, and it will be okay. As for what birthday gift to buy for Bai Wuxi, Li Yuan hesitated for a while. Bai Wuxi actually has nothing missing. She is a happy girl who has been raised by her parents at home. Not long ago, he bought her a bag, necklace, and jewelry. What gifts can I give now? Li Yuan is a little confused. If it were an ordinary boy, he could give him some electronic products, such as new mobile phones, MP4, digital cameras, guitars, violins, bicycles, etc. But now, Li Yuan suddenly felt that he really didn't know what gift to give. He was a little worried. This was his first girlfriend. He had 3 other girlfriends. He would have troubles in the future. When Li Yuan was running around and worrying about Bai Wuxi's birthday, Miwen, in the girls' dormitory, Bai Wuxi stopped Zhong Tingyu, who was about to go out. Tingyu, there are some things I want to talk to you about. Zhong Tingyu glanced at Bai Wuxi with a puzzled look. Because of Li Yuan, the two of them hardly talked in the dormitory and rarely met. This week, she was also preparing to apply for a dormitory change. Seeing Bai Wuxi walking towards the balcony, Zhong Tingyu thought about it and followed him. She also wanted to know what Bai Wuxi wanted to talk to her about. The two came to the balcony. Bai Wuxi looked at the beautiful roommate in front of her, and her heart was still a little sad. Even though she had learned the story of her previous life from Li Yuan, she still had a subconscious feeling that it was this beautiful roommate in front of her who took away her childhood sweetheart boyfriend. And now, this girl who took away her boyfriend can walk in the sun just like herself. Bai Wuxi's thoughts flashed through her mind, and she looked at Zhong Tingyu and spoke calmly. Tingyu, are you free tonight? Zhong Tingyu looked at Bai Wuxi deeply and nodded, I am free, what's wrong? Bai Wuxi took a deep breath and spoke slowly, today is my birthday, I want to invite you to attend. Hearing Bai Wuxi's birthday invitation, Zhong Tingyu was slightly startled, and her expression was a little surprised. She really didn't know that today was Bai Wuxi's birthday. She hadn't heard several roommates mention it, nor had she heard Li Yuan say it. What was even more surprising was that Bai Wuxi would invite this rival in love. Since the Shura field of the first basketball game, although on the surface, both of them maintained basic demeanor and did not tear each other apart, they also kept their distance in their hearts, becoming more distant, like strangers living under the same roof. Okay, I'll go. Thanks to Menu Muge for the 500-point reward and Dasatinab1 for the 100-point reward. Chapter 234 Infighting between girlfriends. Hearing Zhong Tingyu's affirmative answer, Bai Wuxi breathed a sigh of relief. She thought the other party would refuse. He will go too. Bai Wuxi mentioned it again casually, intentionally or unintentionally. The birthday party was organized by him. This was telling Zhong Tingyu that this birthday party was all organized by Li Yuan and that Li Yuan valued her. There is an obvious meaning of demonstration in the words. Zhong Tingyu replied expressionlessly, I know. Seeing Zhong Tingyu's unmoved look, Bai Wuxi lightly stamped her feet, nodded with a smile, and left the balcony directly to inform several other roommates. Looking at Bai Wuxi's back, Zhong Tingyu smiled inwardly. Sometimes she felt that her roommate, the school belle, was actually a bit pitiful. Originally, Li Yuan and Bai Wuxi were childhood sweethearts. They had already fallen in love with each other when they were in high school, and Li Yuan pursued her for 3 years. The two of them were admitted to the same university. It stands to reason that they must be lovers who eventually got married, but it turned out. Well, Zhong Tingyu is really hard to evaluate sometimes, because she is also a poor person trapped in it. Moreover, now it is getting deeper and deeper, and it is impossible to extricate itself. She even had to accept sharing a boyfriend's bloody situation with other girls. However, who is willing to quit voluntarily? Bai Wuxi didn't want to, and Xia's Haijin didn't want to. She thought she could let go, but she found that she couldn't let go. Zhong Tingyu stood outside for a while before returning to the dormitory. As soon as I arrived at the dormitory and stood outside the door, I heard the girls Wang Lisa, Deng Mikey and Ding Shanshan cheering and talking about celebrating Bai Wuxi's birthday. Wuxi, today is your birthday? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Damn it, I haven't prepared a birthday gift for you yet. Wang Lisa's eyes widened and she turned anxiously. When it's a roommate's birthday, it's natural to prepare a birthday gift to express your feelings. Deng Mikey hugged Bai Wuxi's arm with a smile and joked, Wuxi, tell us what you still need, and I'll buy it for you. Ding Shanshan added, Wei 11 is a little rich woman. If she needs anything, I don't even know what to give her as a gift. Bai Wuxi smiled. Her black hair shawl was soft and silky. She looked at her roommates and said softly, There's no need to prepare gifts, just go have a meal together. I don't need anything now. Wang Lisa shouted, That won't work. This is your first birthday in your college career, Wei 11. We must prepare birthday gifts. It's only noon now, so there's still time. By the way, Wei 11, where is your birthday held? How did Li Yuan arrange it? It should be very unusual, right? I'm really looking forward to it. Several girls stared at Bai Wuxi curiously, waiting for her answer. Naturally, they have all attended their classmates' birthdays. They usually have a meal together, then send birthday wishes and gifts, sing happy birthday, and eat birthday cake, and the process is complete. But they just heard Bai Wuxi say that this birthday party was organized by Li Yuan.